Hello, hello, and welcome to today's webinar. We are talking about personal brands and how to use the power of personal branding to transform your career. This is part of our U 2.0 series where we discuss different tools, strategies, tactics to enhance your job search. And today we are covering the nuts and bolts of building your personal brand. My name is Natasha Ferguson, and I will be your host for today and presenter for the day. I'm probably going to switch off the video for the rest of the webinar until we get to the questions part, just so that you can get the best out of the presentation itself, the visual component of the presentation. So with that, we are getting into the personal brand development. And I'm going to start by telling you just a little bit about myself and my background and where I come from in helping you to create your personal brand. I am the founder and CEO of Got Hired. We are a career coaching company serving professionals in over 25 countries now. I have 15 years of international experience in HR, and particularly in human resources management, as well as corporate training and recruitment. We've been 6 years in business in the career coaching and helping job seekers find employment, revamping their resumes and coaching them through job interview process. And like I mentioned earlier, we work with professionals of all levels and across a variety of industries in over 25 countries. I have experience in helping entrepreneurs, freelancers, and independent consultants in building their personal and corporate brands. And with my international background, having lived on 5 continents in 9 different countries, I understand the regional and cultural aspects of different job markets. My educational background is in linguistics, human resources, East Asian politics, and business administration. And to begin with a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today, here's the agenda for this session. We will start with defining what the personal brand is, and we will look at different examples of strong personal brands and really discuss the importance of personal branding and why it matters. I will give you a personal brand development framework and ask you different questions and prompt you with different questions and different worksheets and checklists to help you gain that 360-degree overview of your personal brand. We will also cover communicating your brand through different channels and on different platforms, and briefly discuss what makes brand likable and not so likable. I will also talk about branding for different career phases, particularly I believe, today with the limited time that we have, we will only cover 4 different career phases, specifically recent graduates and young professionals, mid-career professionals, executives, and entrepreneurs. So to begin the presentation, I'd like to give you some objectives for today, and there are 4 things that I'd like you to walk away with here from this session. I want you to have a very good understanding of the definition and be able to come up with examples of strong personal brands. I would like you to be able to apply my 5-part personal branding framework, as well as communicate your brand effectively through a variety of channels, in writing, verbally, and on different platforms that are specific to your personal brand and industry. And I'd like you to also understand how branding differs when you go through different career stages with different career goals in mind. There are certainly different elements that are more important at specific phases of your career. And let's start by defining a personal brand. And my definition is pretty straightforward, and I'll give you mine, and I'll give you definitions of some of the business gurus and personal branding gurus, but let's start with mine. Essentially, personal branding is a marketing strategy focused on the most important product. The product is you. Your personal brand is your reputation. It's your personal and professional reputation. It's your legacy and your unique promise of value. And successful brands create a consistent and targeted impression that helps you achieve your personal and professional goals. And before we begin building those personal branding elements, there are essentially three building blocks, which are sort of the foundation for that development process. It requires figuring out who you really are, who you want to serve, and how you differ, what makes you unique. So when figuring out who you really are, you want to tap into not only your skills and your experience, but also your values, your passions, interests, and your personality traits. Also, the unique set of experiences that you have, particularly if you've moved across different industries, or you've worked in different countries, or you served at different phases of either project management or product development, or whatever it is that your area of expertise is. If you've gone through the whole life cycle of that particular product or service. So the unique set of experiences that you have is as important as your skills and strengths and passions and values. Now, who you want to serve, it's essentially your target market or your target audience, and how you differ. You want to look at your unique niche, your talents and experience. Again, it's a combination of different traits and natural talents and experiences that make you unique. And I'd like to continue our personal brand definition part by giving you 3 to, I think, four definitions of other people. And notably, Tom Peters said that all of us need to understand the importance of branding. We are CEOs of our own companies, me incorporated. And to be in business today, our most important job is to be head marketers for the brand called you. Tim Ferriss said that personal branding is about managing your name, and even if you don't own a business, in a world of misinformation, disinformation, and semi-permanent Google records. Going on a date, chances are that your blind date has Googled your name. Going to a job interview, ditto. And Jeff Bezos notably said that your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. And Jason Hartman stated that your personal brand is a promise to your clients, a promise of quality, consistency, competency, and reliability. Now, let's look at some of the examples of strong personal brands. Richard Branson, when you hear Richard Branson's name, what comes to mind is, of course, the fact that he's the CEO of a global Virgin Group, but also his personality is quite distinct and quite unique. And you can think about such traits as somebody who is very adventurous, somebody who is a risk taker, very creative, daring, and some might even say crazy, but good kind of crazy. Tim Ferriss is, besides being a well-known author and an author of top-selling books, he is also known for being for having a very experimental mind and being essentially in the sort of an experimental state constantly by creating a perfect lifestyle design. Somebody who is a very good conversationalist and very good at asking thoughtful and insightful questions, among other things, of course, about him. But also moving on to Gary Vaynerchuk, besides being a media and media company owner and a well-known and well-established marketing expert. He is somebody who is well-known for being a promoter of and somebody who always promotes long hours, lots of patience, hard work, and giving a lot of value for free and just patiently waiting. You know, he's a strong believer in the fact that it takes years to build a business and there's no overnight success, and being patient and having a perspective and being really giving a lot of value for free is where he built. That's essentially the foundation of his personal brand. Now, looking at some of these strong female brands, Angelina Jolie is not only a well-known actress, she's also a humanitarian, somebody who is a breast cancer advocate, and is known for having a very multicultural family and very sort of diverse and multicultural background. Sheryl Sandberg is not only a female tech executive, she is also a strong advocate for women in the workforce, female leaders, and very helps women and empowers women to have a seat at the table, have a voice, and to sort of continue breaking the glass ceiling. Oprah Winfrey is not only a media mogul, she is also a very strong thought leader. And things that come to mind when we talk about Oprah is resiliency, and she's really a strong advocate of helping underprivileged children and underprivileged individuals in educating them, empowering them to be their best selves, among other things, of course. But these are just some of the examples, and you might think of many, many more. And feel free to share that at the end of our webinar or during the webinar in the comments section. And moving on to the why personal branding matters, and why spend that time, why go through all of these different exercises, and why pay attention to the concept of personal branding. First of all, it allows you to stand out and differentiate yourself. People trust you more, you have a much higher perceived value as a thought leader or as a go-to expert that you can establish yourself using the personal branding strategies. You're always 100% authentic, and you can finally be your true self in all of your communications. And you are known as an expert in your field, and you can gain or regain confidence. When we go through different exercises and questions and brainstorming sessions on a path to developing a personal brand, people realize how much they contribute, what others think of them, and it really helps some individuals to regain confidence. There are, of course, other factors, but these are just the top few that come to mind. Now, I wanted to give you a very, very brief warm-up exercise and give you 3 questions and 3 sentences to continue that will sort of put us in that personal branding development mindset. Number 1, what is your essence, the core of who you are? So continue this sentence. I know I'm in my element when blank. Number 2, what is your authority factor, the knowledge that you hold and the skills that you possess? Continue the sentence. People recognize my expertise in blank. And 3, what is your superstar factor? What qualities set you apart? This factor is how you get things done and what you're known for. Continue the sentence. People comment on my ability to do what? So again, I know I'm in my element when I'm doing X. People recognize my expertise in X. People comment on my ability to do X. So these are just some of the questions to start thinking about as we develop a framework for your personal brand. And to continue with the previous warm-up exercise, here are some more thoughts and some more ideas on how to start putting this into words and sentences and our phrases. Here are just some few bullet points to help you write down some of those answers. I use my experiences or skills for, I'm known for, I solve X, ABC problems for my audience by doing what, and so on and so forth. These are just some ideas, and I'm going to share a lot of different slides, worksheets, checklists, and as well as the recording of this webinar, so you can replay, pause, and actually do some of these exercises at different stages of the personal brand development. So right now, follow along with us, but later on, you can definitely take a pause and go through all of the exercises and examples yourselves. So let's get to discovering the personal branding framework and getting to know your personal brand. We start by identifying what matters to you. This is the most essential building block of your personal brand. Your needs, your values, interests, passions, mission. When it comes to developing your needs, you can think about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs that shows layers of needs from the most basic, the physiological needs, the security, the food and safety that we all need, and going all the way up to the self-actualization level and becoming everything that you are capable of becoming. So as we progress in our career, we tend to follow the same pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy of needs in our career. So our career needs can actually be translated to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I have an example for you that I'll be sharing later on. So look at your needs. Look at your values as well. Those core principles that give meaning to your life, the set of standards that determine your attitudes, your choices, and actions in life. Also, brainstorm the interests and passions of yours, those things that intrigue you and motivate you, and determine how you spend time. Think about the type of content that you consume, the books you read, articles you read, podcasts you listen to. What do you discuss with your friends? What are some of the first thoughts that you wake up in the morning? What do you think about when you're in a shower? What types of ideas are constantly intriguing you and challenging you? So think about interests and passions, and your mission, an expression that clarifies what you are all about and what you want to do in life. Essentially, what do you stand for? So start by looking at your personal needs, the values, the needs, interests and passions, and mission. What matters to you first? And this would be a good time to make a pause and complete 3 checklists: the career needs, interests inventory, and values. And again, you can replay this and complete the worksheets as we go along, but I just wanted to point out this would be a good time to complete those 3 exercises. And the next step would be for us to realize what you're really, really good at. Things that intrigue you and motivate you to devote energy to them. What do you like about your current job? What kind of volunteer work do you enjoy? What hobbies do you spend most of your time on? And think about current jobs, previous jobs, volunteer experiences, what role you play in your local community, and what hobbies have you had or want to pick up one day. So think about all of those things that you are really good at. And to gain a 360-degree view of your personal brand, I designed a 5-part worksheet that essentially has 5 questions or 5 areas of your personal brand that we want to brainstorm. Number 1, what makes you unique? What sets you apart from other professionals in your field? Number 2, what is something about you that has consistently served you well in helping you achieve your goals? And what is it about you that's hard for others to replicate or copy? Number 3 is your personal and professional reputation. And this would be a good time to engage others in this exercise and to pick 5 or 6 or more trusted advisors, mentors, professors, friends, colleagues, managers, current or former managers, and to ask them those questions. What do you think are my strengths? What is my personal reputation? What am I good at? What is my professional reputation? What am I known for? What do people talk about when I'm not in the room? And number 4, what are your professional values? And number 5, your legacy and what lasting impact do you want to make? And one thing that we always want to keep in mind when we're going through all of these different discovery type exercises is to have your target audience in mind, whether it's industry, geography, companies, or individuals that you serve, their pain points or their needs. Are they is it a mission-driven or profit-driven company? And so one of the biggest mistakes is really that personal branders try to appeal to everyone, whereas you really want to speak to the needs of your target audience and you want to talk about what resonates with them. And to design your personal brand, we want to look at the natural talents, skills, a unique experience, reputation, values, and legacy. And this would be a good time for you to take your turn and pause and answer the questions on our personal branding worksheet. That will really help you to define your unique promise of value. And again, a good idea is to engage others in the process as well, especially when it comes to the reputation piece. And communicating your brand is going to be determined by what your current goals are and what your audience is. So most of the listeners of my webinars or participants in my workshops or one-on-one sessions are usually job seekers, whether active job seekers or passive job seekers, but essentially a lot of people are looking out for better opportunities for themselves, and they're looking for ways to differentiate themselves in the marketplace. And so the one way you could do that is to use your personal branding elements in resumes, traditional cover letters, job search letters, video cover letters, project profiles, executive bios, resume websites, personal websites, company websites, and LinkedIn profiles, of course. Now, for certain industries and products and services, including more of the visual component would be visual or vocal, I should rather say, component would be beneficial. So in those cases, you might want to consider YouTube or podcasting as well. So, but yeah, including your personal brand and the elements of your personal brand in your traditional job search documents, as well as your online presence for job seekers, would be a good strategy, definitely a good idea. And I want to help you to create a personal branding statement or actually a branded career summary. There are many ways to word it. And you can use that in your resume, that summary section on your resume. You can also use it in your LinkedIn profile summary. And you can actually use some of these descriptors in your sales pitch or your elevator pitch or your introduction that you would use in giving presentations to your prospective clients, or at networking events, or making introductions in a variety of different settings and groups. So number one, I would recommend using and essentially talking about who you are and describing your career in one sentence. For example, offering 10 years of project management experience in the industrial, construction, and manufacturing arenas in the United States, South America, and Middle East. So notice how I started with the word offering. Now, this is a good way to start the first sentence. And back in the day, we used to write career objectives where we would be talking about what we are looking to get out of the next opportunity, what we want to gain, whereas employers really care about what you have to offer. What can they gain by bringing you on board? So actually starting that sentence with the word offer or offering would be a good idea to actually focus their eyes on what you can deliver, what you can offer instead of what you're looking for. The second sentence is the place where you can communicate your unique value proposition, which is part of your personal branding worksheet. And if you've been following along and completing all the different checklists and exercises and really brainstorming the questions and your personal brand identity and the components of your brand, this is a good time to really put it in writing and to summarize it in one sentence. What is your unique value proposition? So here's an example to continue with the same project manager example. Uniquely positioned to deliver critical projects in the remote locations with limited resources, challenging work conditions, and pressing deadlines. Notice how I start with uniquely positioned, or you can say well-positioned. To do what? To deliver what? So that would be a good way to start your unique value proposition statement. That would be the second sentence of your career summary. And sentence 3 is all about your reputation, your personality traits that help you succeed, and your personal and professional reputation. I want to continue with that project manager example and give you the last sentence in their career summary. Known among management and peers for being decisive and personable, treating everyone with respect, and for her ability to motivate and and for her ability to build motivated and highly productive teams. There it is. So the key word here is, to begin with, is known. Known for. What are you known for? What are you respected for? What are you recognized for? So that would be a good way to start the sentence that talks about your reputation. Again, it's a simple framework. It's only 3 sentences, and you can really put a lot of impact into the statement. Focus on what their needs are, what you're uniquely positioned to deliver, and what you are known for, what your reputation is. Again, use it in your resume, in your introduction at networking events. You can tweak it, of course, based on the situation and audience. And you can also use it in your LinkedIn profile summary. And I want to talk for a moment about writing with purpose and being consistent. Present the same philosophy, sayings, taglines, and attributes throughout your documents to gain consistency. So whether you're talking about LinkedIn profile, your one-on-one interactions with people, your resume, cover letters, or anything else that promotes your personal brand, staying consistent is the key. Identify your audience carefully and understand what compels them. Then reflect that information in your unique promise of value. And seek to understand the problems that your target market faces, and then offer solutions that highlight your brand. And tune out the noise. Leave off details that do not promote your personal brand. You'll hear me often say that anything that you do either strengthens your personal brand or dilutes your personal brand dilutes rather your personal brand. So these are some things to keep in mind when it comes to consistency and staying on message, speaking to your audience, and only communicating the most relevant information. Now, the key elements of a branded resume typically include the fact that your resume is targeted to specific job titles. It's clean and reader-friendly in its layout and its design. It includes a branded career summary showcasing your unique promise of value. Talks about your core competencies and strengths. It's relevant to the target job titles. You want to talk about only relevant work experience. And when you talk about work experience, highlight the accomplishments and results rather than job duties. And don't waste space on lame, cliche words. You can actually use quotes from your reference letters, performance reviews, or client reviews to create a better, not only better, but also a more consistent brand, and you can promote what others say about you, which builds credibility. So that's always a good strategy, especially in cases where you work as a consultant or as a I'd say as a consultant, and you work in a service industry a lot of times, but not limited to that, but I'd say that's where you can really build more credibility through what others say about you. Moving on to practicing your pitch, and remember how I talked about including the career summary, the branded career summary statement in a variety of different settings. And one of them is your sales pitch or your introductions that you give at networking events. And you can always tweak this to suit a specific occasion, a specific audience. And the 6-sentence template here that I'm giving you here can be shortened to maybe 3 sentences, still keeping the components of this structure, but maybe shortening it to 3 sentences instead of 6 in some cases. So you want to start by saying what your name is, include a title and a company name, essentially saying who you are, and then mention your target audience you work with, and then talk about who you work with and who you serve. And then you can add a sentence or a phrase about their challenges or problems, who experience problem ABC or certain challenges. Then continue on by saying what's typically the result or the outcome of that problem, and finish with talking about what you do and what you offer and how you help solve those problems, what the outcome is of your service or product. And how to reach your audience online and offline effectively. Always stay on message and always be consistent. If you're really going through this effort of developing your personal brand and you have a strategy to implement your personal brand across a variety of platforms and channels, you want to stay on message. And to continue building your brand even further and reach more people, you can create a personal website or blog. You can use LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms to reach more people. You can publish articles, whether it's through LinkedIn or becoming an unpaid contributor to local publications, whether online journals or print newspapers and journals. And a lot of companies would actually be very welcoming to an expert to come in and give them free, valuable content. But what it helps you do is it helps you promote your brand, and by other publications, especially reputable and recognizable household name publications, you can build further credibility by sharing the articles that you wrote for different publications. You can add online video or podcasts to further your brand, and I've seen a lot of my clients succeed with taking their message to a broader audience through a video platform or a podcast platform. You can take public speaking engagements, and there's definitely a higher likelihood of getting more engagements if you are willing to do it for free. And those could be either conferences, local associations, networking groups where you can offer something of value, or even digital platforms. You can deliver public speaking messages through maybe your own webinar or your own Q&A session on a topic. And be mindful about your digital footprint. So managing your online reputation is as important as going through the exercise of building your personal brand. And we know that in today's day and age, everybody and anybody who is any kind of dealings with us, whether it's business or personal, will always Google us and will always look up. I'm not just talking about employers. It's everybody and anybody can reach your digital footprint online. So be mindful of that. And what makes brands likable and not so likable? On the contrary, we're very limited with time, but to give you some pointers on what helps you build better relationships and become more likable in person, of course, the appearance matters. You want to be well polished, put together. You want to put some thought and time into your choice of clothing, hairstyle, accessories, and so on and so forth. Definitely people that look well put together are more likable and look more professional. Finding common ground with people and being authentic in your communication and being genuinely interested in others and practicing empathy, being able to relate to other people's experiences and being empathetic. Those are the things that will go a long way, and a very little effort will actually take you a very long way in establishing relationships, becoming more likable, becoming more charismatic, and more confident, looking more confident. So for sure, those are just some of the introductory pointers on in-person likability. Minding your manners, of course, is a big one. When it comes to online, you always want to Google yourself, depending on whether you are self-employed or working for a company. You may want to set some Google alerts for your name and your company name. And you want to remove the content that is no longer relevant to your message and your future career goals. Adjust your privacy settings to where certain information about you stays private, and or you can adjust your privacy settings to become more visible and more of a public person. But just be mindful of the information that you put out about yourself. And there's always it's always a good idea to follow a simple rule of self-reflecting before self-revealing. And yeah, Google Alerts is a good way to set some search engine results to be emailed to you once a week, once a day, once a month, depending on what you choose. So I would highly recommend setting some Google Alerts for your name or your company name, or both. And when it comes to building your career and your brand at different phases of your professional life, with the limited time that we have, I can only cover 4 today, starting with junior professionals, recent graduates, to mid-career professionals, to executives, and also I'll talk a little bit about entrepreneurs and business owners. So college students and young professionals a lot of times ask me, how will I look unique when I'm an average student with a business major from an average school? Now, there are many ways that you can stand out, and I always tell my young professionals, clients, and college students that I work with that as a college student or a recent graduate, you can break every rule, pretty much any rule. When it comes to job search, you can go directly to employers, you can be creative, you can cast a wide net through your social media presence. So as a recent graduate, you want to leverage your internships, the languages that you speak, the network of people that you know, especially if it's a very wide network in a specific industry or niche. You want to promote your projects that you've done. Include your travel experiences. Your self-presentation at interviews will make or break your case a lot of times. And your social and communication skills in a variety of settings, whether business or personal. And managing your reputation would be the key. So it's removing certain content about yourself. It's putting out more content based on your goals and your area of expertise. And it's, again, as a college student, you can break almost every rule in the book about job search. The key is managing your reputation, being well polished, well put together, having good communication skills, and leveraging your unique experiences such as languages, internships, special projects, travel experiences, and so on and so forth. So these are just some initial thoughts on how to promote your brand as a recent graduate. As a mid-career professional, you want to really focus on finding your niche and becoming that go-to expert. When you're at work and somebody is having any particular problem, your name, you want them to come up with your name. Oh, if you're having such and such problems, you should see this person or that person. So you really want to focus on becoming a go-to expert in your field by constantly educating yourself, by building your brand on a unique set of characteristics about you. I've seen a lot of people succeed with being very specific about their target audience and building their brands on certain specific characteristics about themselves, such as the languages they speak, where they come from, and really speaking to the demographic of people that they can relate to. And take a lead a project, volunteer to be the leader on a team or an individual project, and go above and beyond your job description. So this is a good time to explore different avenues within your workplace. You can try different hats. You can be a member or leader on different cross-functional teams. Take initiative and go above and beyond your basic job duties. And it's always a good idea to risk being the first one with a new idea, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. Just saying your ideas at a round table, at a team meeting, one-on-one with your manager, coming up with ideas and not being afraid to share your ideas. And have an owner's mindset. And what I mean by that is, you really want to show that you care. You care about the customer, the product or service, about the company and its culture, about the company legacy, and your team. So having the owner's mindset will take you a very long way on your career trajectory. For executives, there comes a point in time when it's a good idea to reconnect with your values and passions And building your brand or furthering your brand on your values and passions, and those being the key drivers in what you do and what you say, is a good strategy. Identify your competition and target audience so that you can create a differentiating personal marketing communication. The key at this point is to differentiate yourself and solicit feedback. It's a good time to do some self-reflection and gain some feedback from trusted advisors, trusted group of people in your network, and really look at whether what you think about yourself matches with what others say about you. This is the time to bank on your charisma and confidence, and portraying confidence through a variety of methods and mediums, whether it's verbal or nonverbal communication. Those are just some of the things to definitely consider when it comes to building your brand as an executive. Confidence and charisma, it's critical at that level. Establishing yourself as a subject matter expert and establishing yourself as a thought leader and a leader in general, and being able to lead people and have people follow you by the ideas that you express, how you express those ideas, and how credible you sound. Those are some of the important points. Manage your reputation. We've seen a lot of careers ruined by a tweet, by a photo, or a comment on social media. So managing your reputation. And there are actually companies that would remove certain things from your digital footprint. But again, it's being consistent with your message and being authentic in your communications and being likable. So manage your reputation and control your digital footprint, whether you do it yourself or you engage a company that can do it for you. Those are important things to be aware of. And be a connector and opportunity creator for others. At this point, you can benefit by using your power and the level that you are at by helping others, connecting people, and not expecting anything in return. A lot of times it can further your brand, and in a long run, you can gain from a connection down the road, or somebody might remember how you helped them to build their business, how you help them with advice to further their career. And being a connector, an opportunity creator for others, and not expecting much in return, being generous in that sense, is a good strategy to follow. And for my entrepreneur friends and colleagues, clearly articulate your unique promise of value. And a lot of times we think that we need to really differentiate ourselves. We need to be very different from our competitors. But a lot of times it's just having a good and consistent message and having a valuable service that impacts people's lives. It's all it takes. A lot of times it's not about being unique. It's about being able to communicate your values. So it can be one or the other. All I'm saying is you don't have to really focus on becoming very unique. You just have to, a lot of times you just have to do a good job and be able to communicate that. People do business with people they like, so be likable and be more in front of people so people can find out how nice and likable you are and have that firsthand experience with you, and get exposed to communicating directly with you. That's the best way to become likable quickly. Connect your brand with your business plan. A lot of times as a startup business owner or as a solopreneur, our personal brand is the heart and soul of our business. And for multinational business owners, you need to be mindful of being appealing and being positive in other cultures. So are your brand characteristics seen as positive? in other cultures? Ask yourself that. And so to wrap up today's session, I'd like you to give some pointers as a sort of a takeaway message. Number one, personal brand is your reputation, your legacy, and your unique promise of value. Strong brands are distinct, visible, authentic, and meaningful. Your personal brand allows you to stand out and be more memorable, and anything that you do either strengthens or dilutes your personal brand. And I would like to leave you with this quote. Your brand is a gateway to your true work. You know you are here to do something, to create something, or help others in some way. The question is, how can you set up your life and work so that you can do it? The answer lies in your brand. When you create a compelling brand, you attract people who want the promise of your brand, which you deliver. Dave Buck. And with that, I am ready to wrap up the session, take your questions, and invite you to join and continue the conversation online as well. You can send us your questions later to nferguson@gothired.net. You can check out our custom builds or a variety of individual services to help you build your own brand and promote your personal brand in the marketplace. You can also schedule a free one-on-one career consultation at gothired.net. Just go to contact or book appointment section.